Is it possible that a spin-off can eclipse the original? Take a character and further develop his or her world.
Thanks for the cold one, Sam.
You're welcome, Frasier.
The beer, I mean, not Diane.
Well, after a fruitful 11 seasons of Cheers, 9 with Kelsey Grammer, he was gifted his own show in '93, when psychiatrist Frasier Crane returned to his hometown Seattle, began hosting a radio call-in show, and reluctantly agreed for his aging father to come live with him. Who knew that this concept would also yield 11 seasons of exquisite writing, intelligent storytelling, and downright comedic slam dunks of performances?
I don't want to know.
Frasier earned its place in TV history as the highest Emmy-winning sitcom of them all. Cheers to that. Wait, no, Frasier to that. But that doesn't make any sense. Anywho, I'm your host, Nostalgic Nick. And let's head to Seattle, get a cup of coffee, or better yet, a glass of sherry.
I'd offer you a sherry, but I'm fresh out.
And check back on the people and adorable pup that delivered one of the best TV shows of all time. If you enjoy our deep dive, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a throwback.
Just don't want any more bloodshed.
Relax. You're home free.
Kelsey Grammer. Dr. Frasier Crane is a radio psychiatrist here in Seattle. Kind and knowledgeable, but oftentimes coming off as uppity and arrogant. And boy, was it fun to watch.
It has not been that long. I remember the tree was still up.
Kelsey Grammer began working in Hollywood in 1979 after previously studying at Juilliard, and he acted with some of the greats in live theater like James Earl Jones and Christopher Plummer in the Broadway revival of Othello. That same year, in 1983, he was in his first mini-series, Kennedy, playing Stephen Smith. In 1984, he helped launch season 3 of Cheers, playing Diane's new love interest and Sam's pain in the neck. Originally only supposed to be a 6-episode arc, it turned into 202 and led the way for this incredible spin-off. Kelsey was Emmy nominated for playing the same character on 3 different shows: Cheers, Frasier,
Hey baby, I hear the blues are calling, tossed salads and scrambled eggs.
and a guest appearance on Wings.
Frasier, stop being such a baby. If we crash and die, we crash and die. This is a vacation, for God's sakes.
And we can't forget all the voice work he's done. He voiced Prospector in Toy Story 2, but is best known for his sideshow Bob on The Simpsons.
But, children, this whole sordid affair has been a shock to all of us, but we must get on with our lives.
Kelsey has notably struggled with alcoholism since he was about 20, and terribly it stemmed from having to identify the body of his younger sister. Grammer named his daughter after his sister in her memory. Kelsey's love life is quite complicated to say the least. Married 4 times with 7 kids, and his current spouse is a flight attendant and 25 years his junior, as Grammer is in his late 60s. But all Frasier fans rejoice. Maybe, as he's currently producing the untitled Frasier revival series, expected in 2022. And hey, let's not jump on the reboot hate train here. After all, it was a spin-off that delivered this legendary show. Jane leaves. Daphne Moon, later Daphne Crane, is Martin's live-in aide and therapist. She's got a more refined perspective, yet is always a quirky spirit in the house.
Dead skin, dust mites. That's what we're all sleeping on, only we don't know it.
We do now, jeez.
And despite their contrasting upbringings, Niles and Daphne share a love story that is true, and the interplay they share is genuine and lovely. Jane's career began in the heavens as one of Benny's angels in the outrageous Benny Hill Show, and we have an entire Benny episode if you want to learn a little more about his vibrant but troubled life. In recent years, we saw Jane on the show Hot in Cleveland alongside Valerie Bertinelli and Betty White. And Jane is still great friends with Bertinelli. She has been married to CBS television executive Marshall Coben since 1996, and the couple has 2 children together. One of her pregnancies was written into Frasier as a weight-gaining problem for Daphne due to her Niles relationship. Today, Jane is 60 years old, and her son has both David Hyde Pierce and the late John Mahoney as godfathers. Family is family. David Hyde Pierce. Niles Crane is Frasier's younger brother, a psychiatrist for private practice. He is well educated and blunt, but cares for his loved ones and means well. He's also incredibly germophobic and acts like a bubble boy a bit, but we can't say it enough. Niles was the standout character of this show.
When was the last time you had an unexpressed thought?
I'm having one now.
David's breakout TV role was in 1992, Norman Lear's political comedy The Powers That Be, and the casting director from that show recommended that Frasier creators should invent a part for Pierce, partly because of his resemblance to Kelsey Grammer, and after looking at the tapes of the show, they were floored by his performance and created a role just for him. And Pierce was nominated for a Best Supporting Actor Emmy every single season, which is a record, winning in 95, 98, 99, and 2004, just remarkable. Some other notable film roles include Sleepless in Seattle, Oliver Stone's Nixon, and the 2003 cult comedy Down with Love. He's currently working on the series Julia, playing Julia Child's husband, Paul. Today, David is 62 and has been married to TV producer and writer Brian Hargrove since 2008. He has also spent years working with the Alzheimer's Association, even testifying in DC for more funding, and we can't wait to watch what he does next. John Mahoney. Martin Crane was the blue-collar Pops, outspoken yet laid back, a former Seattle detective who was forced to retire after sustaining a gunshot wound. Due to his hip injury, he was incapable of living alone. And so we get to watch Martin, his chair, his dog, and his aide truly ruffle Frasier's feathers. John Mahoney was born in England but moved to the States at 18 when his older sister Vera, a war bride living in Illinois, agreed to sponsor him. He became a citizen in 71 and served as editor of a medical journal through much of the 70s. But unsatisfied with his job, he began taking classes and performing theater. And after a stage production in Chicago in 77, John Malkovich encouraged him to join the Steppenwolf Theater. Mahoney's first major film role came in 1987, Barry Levinson's underrated comedy Tin Men. Then there were a couple Cher flicks, first as the judge in Suspect, and then John Patrick Shanley's Oscar-winning Moonstruck. And his career went over the moon after that.
Okay, I'll remember that.
A couple favorites are 1989's Say Anything, 1991's Coen Brothers film Barton Fink, and then reuniting with his Chicago brethren John Malkovich in the Clint Eastwood film In the Line of Fire. Now who remembers his episode of Cheers? He first met Frasier in season 11, episode 5. Bonus points for all who knew that. After Frasier, he had a fantastic season 2 arc on HBO's In Treatment, but his career was slowing down a bit. John had battled cancer for decades, first in the 80s and again in 2014. He credits his acting career for giving him the strength to persevere, saying, quote, "I refuse to yield to it because I love what I'm doing so much." His final role was the 2019 film Mariette in Ecstasy, which was sadly a posthumous release, as John Mahoney died in 2018 at 77 years old. Truly an incredible actor that I am thankful got tired of his day job. Perry Gilpin. Roz, oh Roz, the producer of Frasier's show, with a liberal approach to dating. She's the subject of witty remarks and jokes, mostly from Niles, but she's a terrific character and just part of the family, really.
Me too. Oh, I love you too. Oh, there, happy now.
Perry Gilpin worked as a makeup artist before meeting Blythe Danner, who became her main supporter in acting, which began in 1988. She quickly nabbed a regular role on a new but brief sitcom Flesh and Blood. And funny enough, Gilpin was also in a season 11 episode of Cheers, so it was easy to slot her right into Frasier. But there was some tough competition. Lisa Kudrow was originally cast as Roz, and her line readings were reportedly funnier. But during rehearsals, creators felt that Kudrow lacked the forcefulness to play Roz, and she was replaced by Gilpin. Don't worry, Kudrow became Phoebe Buffay the following year. In 2009, Gilpin starred as a gymnastics mama on Make It or Break It. We last saw her in a 2021 film called We Broke Up. Today, Perry is 60 years old and has been an advocate for cancer research since her mother died from it in 1997. Gilpin has been married to painter Christian Vincent since 1999, and the couple have twins born to a surrogate mother in 2004. Dan Butler.
The stakes
BS! This is total BS!
Oh, the familiar shoutings of Bob Bulldog Briscoe, the explosive, misguided, womanizing host of Bob Bulldog Briscoe and the Gonzo Sports Show. Dan Butler began acting in 1982, mainly in films, like 1990's The Long Walk Home, and then The Silence of the Lambs. But Bulldog is his most known role. He appeared in every season except for the 8th. His most prominent post-Frasier gig, a voice job, as Mr. Simmons in the hit Nickelodeon show Hey Arnold. In 2017, he was part of the Stephen King reboot The Mist. Today, Dan is 67 years old and lives in Vermont with his husband, producer Richard Waterhouse. Moose. Eddie was the best dog a retired detective could hope for, and boy was he popular too.
What am I gonna do with you? My favorite shoes are soaked.
According to John Mahoney, Moose got more fan mail than any of them. Fun fact, in order to persuade Moose to lick Martin's face for a scene, Mahoney's face was lightly smeared with liver pate. That's a refined palate. Moose was 14 when the show ended. His fur had turned white and he was almost completely deaf. But his trainer carried him on stage after the final episode, so he could take his bows with the rest of the cast. David Hyde Pierce later said, "It was one of the most moving moments of the evening, watching Moose recognize and react to the applause one final time." Moose also played Skip in 2000's My Dog Skip, and he passed away a pup of the stars on June 22nd, 2006. The good dog was 15 years old. Frasier will, besides a miracle, be the best spin-off show of all time. I mean, it's incredible that it rivaled the good folks over at Cheers Bar. And now we get to see more of the Frasier universe, with its revival geared up for Peacock TV. So it's time to discuss. What's a great episode of Frasier you recall? One of mine is from the first season, where the two brothers try to write a psychology book together. It's a great brotherly episode for those of us who know. And what's another project from one of these wonderful actors that I left off? Please tell me in the comments and I'll cue it up next. If you don't mind, smash that thumbs up icon for us and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But from all of us here at Do You Remember, thank you very much for watching.